Welcome to Activations with JJ's special 1111 Portal Ascension message. In this episode, I will be talking about how we can best prepare for the 1111 portal, as well as what to expect during this time as we move through the different energies. Greetings, my dear beautiful friends. I have decided to drop in just a couple of days prior to the actual 1111 portal, although for those of you in Australia and New Zealand time zone, you'll be getting this just right before. I feel drawn to share with you a couple of additional things that have been coming through regarding the 1111 portal, how we can best harness these energies, and how we can prepare for the most intense portion of the 1111 portal, which will happen the actual day of 1111. Now, the portal opens prior to 1111 and does not close until after that. For this reason, I actually have booked my one-on-one 1111 portal sessions over the span of a couple of days because I know that that portal energy is strong leading up to and even in the wake of the actual day of 1111. But as you're preparing over this next little while, I want to go ahead and bring through a couple of things I've actually mentioned in some reels, but I felt it would be important to include this in a podcast episode because I feel like there's so much that's going to come through. I want you to really feel like you can take advantage of the energies that are coming through for you. So the first thing I want to mention that came through is the idea of grounding, and grounding a lot. Spirit came through first in an Instagram live that I was doing for my mentorship session just a couple of days ago. And as I connected with our collective guides and higher selves, the first message they had was to encourage us to increase the amount of time we are spending doing grounding activities. And for those of you who know the importance of grounding, you'll understand this completely. Grounding, what it does, will create a fertile soil for those 1111 codes to be anchored and planted in. I invite you to use the analogy of a garden and soil, as I mentioned, because if you want to look at those 1111 codes, whether they're for our light body upgrades, whether they're for DNA, whatever they're for, and whatever you've intentioned to bring through for 1111 portal, those codes and those upgrades need to be able to ground down into your body. They need to be anchored into something. And if you are spending all your time in the woo-woo, super high vibrations, it won't be as easy for you to plant those within your actual physical body. So I invite you to spend time grounding, going outside, whatever that looks like for you, no matter what the weather, take it in. I made a commitment to do this as well. And I've been walking in all kinds of weather, rain, snow, all of the things. But I know that it's really serving me well to continue to allow myself to ground. Grounding activities also include doing some of those mundane tasks in your day, dusting or cleaning your house, brushing your teeth, making food, all of those things that seem a little tedious and very human. Those actually serve us very well to create a grounding energy within our bodies. So I want to encourage you to increase the amount of time you ground as we approach the 1111 portal. The second point that has dropped in revolves around increasing our abilities and expanding our abilities to produce light language. Now, light language is not just spoken. For those of you who have heard me talk about it before, it includes spoken, written, and also movement with your body, including your hands. And so what I want to encourage you to do is choose one of those types of light language, whichever one comes easiest to you, and spend some time activating that. Now, you might wonder what exactly that looks like. I actually posted a reel just recently with a little bit of light language practice, vocal light language practice, that you can just imitate. And so I'll say a sound and then you say a sound. Those of you who are familiar with mantras or chanting or toning, that's another way that you can practice and increase your vocal light language. I talk about developing your written light language in the November monthly energy update. And that can just look like doodling, just like when you were a child. Put a blank piece of paper and a bunch of colored markers or pencils or crayons in front of you and just start to draw. You don't even have to have intention if you don't want to. You can just say, I want this to open up my abilities to channel light codes in a written form. And I promise you, that would be sufficient for you to be able to expand to where you need to be. The third way of doing light language includes movement of your body. And specifically, I work with hand light language. One of the ways that you can free your hands just a little bit more is to turn on music and just let those hands flow. Let them move and do whatever they want to do and see what happens. I want to challenge you to do any one of these three or all of these three, however far you want to take it, as we approach the 1111 portal. One of the reasons, just so I can explain to you the why, because I feel like some of you are asking, but what will this do? Specifically, what's going to happen during the 1111 portal is a lot of codes are going to be dropping in. And just as I said, you needed to be able to anchor them in your body by grounding. You can also anchor them in your body by doing light language. The other thing about light language is if there are a lot of really intense codes coming through, and not all of them are for your body or are needed in your body, light language gives you the opportunity to transmit those codes and release those codes to flourish in the collective. You have no idea what your spoken light language will do. It's the butterfly effect, if you've ever heard of it. Nobody may even hear your light language come out of your mouth or see the light codes that you wrote down or see you doing the hand light language, but those vibrations will reverberate throughout the planet if you simply bring them through your body. And so not only are these 1111 energies coming through to serve you, but they are coming through to serve the collective with you as a conduit for them. And if you're starting to feel a little bit of intense energy, again, rely upon that light language, rely upon those different suggestions I made as a way to move that energy through your body. The last thing that I want to bring through is an invitation to consider taking some time after the 1111 portal to integrate, holding space for yourself to be able to process everything that has come through. Many of you know that I mentioned that during the 1111 multidimensional channeling ceremony, which I will be doing live in Los Angeles, that there are also virtual tickets for. We sold out the live, but there are virtual tickets. My guides came through and said, listen up. During this ceremony, we will be upgrading the channels of everybody there. We will be adding clarity to their channel. We will be increasing the amount of vibrations they are able to bring through their channel. And so in light of that, I want to remind you that an intense activation like that will require a few days of integration. And that integration might look different for you. It might actually be utilizing the techniques that I mentioned earlier with the grounding and the light language, because those two tools are useful for integration as well as calibration and processing energy. So the other ways that you might consider integrating are tapping, if you're familiar with EFT tapping. Any kind of movement or yoga is also extremely helpful for integration. And of course, my go-to favorite is always sleep. But when I sleep, I always set the intention that my guides will be able to come through and assist me with integration, because you're not in this alone. You can call in your star family, your angelic family, any of your guides to help work on you while you're sleeping and assist you with that integration piece, because it can be challenging sometimes. All right, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. As a recap, I want to invite you to continue to ground, do anything that you can do to increase the grounding within your body. Take some time to experiment with light language, to do a little bit more with it, to step into it a little bit more fully. And then finally, I want to remind you that if you feel drawn to amplify your channel, there are 2 ways that you can come into our multidimensional channeling ceremony. There were 3 ways, but we sold out the in-person tickets. So guess what those other 2 ways are? One is a virtual ticket. We will be streaming this ceremony live on Zoom, so you can purchase those tickets through the link in my description. But guess what? Spirit also told me that lots of you are going to want to attend astrally. So if you feel drawn to attend astrally, that's another option for you. I've decided that we're going to expand this little space that we'll be in physically into a large energetic container that crosses the whole world so that we can all join forces as channelers, as light workers, and amplify this connection that we have with divine source energy so that we can begin to bring through at an even greater rate these codes, these downloads, these upgrades that we are needing in order to fully step into the vibration of the new earth. As always, my friends, I'm sending you so much love. I'm holding space for you over the next few days that you'll be able to process and integrate and calibrate and do everything that your heart desires to do for 1111. Leaving you with my final reminder that I am you, and you are me, and we are we.